Good morning. It's June 14th. I'm Sabah Hassan. I'm the Director of Operations Support in School Finance here at ADE. I've got with me Irene from my team and Ozzy from the AZ's team, and we're moving into summer, so hopefully every day is a light day. Knock on wood. That's where I am. Shenanigans. If you've been here before, you know I like to take a second for housekeeping, in part so people can hit refresh, and in part because we have to actually do housekeeping. The screen you're looking at does look like a YouTube video. The only thing is I'm not going to look at the comment section of it, in fact, ever. So across the top of the video, it says ask a question at slides.app.google4HJG8. You'll have to throw that in a separate browser. You could use it on your phone. I don't like it on my phone, but you can use it on your phone, or you could use it in a different tab. And it shows me your questions on a separate little screen. I wonder if I could show it to you. So tiny. Just a separate little screen, and your questions show up there, and then I can share them on the slides so everyone can see them. So it's helpful. I like it. Here we go. Light day. If you haven't called school finance before, because we've got some new charters, so that might include you, school finance primarily disperses state aid to school districts and charters, and a couple of other institutions as well. But this is based on student data and a few other data elements. For example, charter estimated counts or transportation. So if you have data questions, you can reach out to our team. We're 602-542-5695. That's how to find us. Fiscal year 2020. We're kind of up. We're up and ready to go. Last year, because we moved calendar into AZs, a lot of districts and charters had difficulty submitting calendar while on summer vacation. So we opened 2020 a little earlier to accommodate that. And so AZs is up and running, and there's a little over 4,000 kids in there already generating ADM. So it's pretty good going there. We have a memo, and I'll show it to you in a second, but essentially the memo says that for the first payment of 2020, the districts will be based on prior year ADM, prior year being 19, and that for charters, we're hoping to use 100-day projected ADM. That said, if you'd rather, charter estimated counts will be available on the 14th, which if you didn't notice, I misunderstood to be 5 p.m. on the 14th. So it's available now. That was my bad. So it's 9 a.m. Charter estimated counts is available for charters who need to be able to use it. We'll put out a hot topic about it. I'm not going to email it, but there's that. Oh wow, there's some copy paste looking questions in here. Well, I'll get back to them in a second. There are some requests for new schools for 2020. 2 weeks ago, my queue was up at 60. Right now, we're working about, I guess, close to the pace that they're coming in. So we made it down to 45. But IT is being super helpful as we're working on the timing of the new year and rolling over the prior year. So I'm optimistic we'll get through those in a timely way. One problem I'm having, though, is a charter that hasn't yet signed its contract, I can't treat as a charter yet. So I'm having a couple problems where people who have gotten approval from the charter board but have not yet signed their contract are calling other departments around the agency, and they're calling me asking me what's the CTDS of this charter, and I go, well, without a contract, it's just a prospective charter, a charter candidate. So that's why I do need to see your contract before I can finalize your CTDS. So it's only slowing us down. It's a tiny road bump. We're moving along pretty well. I'm pleased. If you didn't know, did I take a slide out? Weird. I did. I took a slide out. Okay, we have a new database that we're using to manage schools and districts, schools and their owners, and it's called the EOS. It's the EdOrg, like Education Organization System. It's in any case, it's going to have a live feed to AZEDs, and so we're moving all of our relationships between schools and their owners, and relationships between schools and their submitters, and approvals for various programs into that system. So that means there's a few different things to configure AZEDs that are now very tidily in school finance, but also have a better name than they had in prior years. So you may not know that, but if you were operating a DRP according to 90106, I was entering it into a database somewhere, and now there's like a centralized place for it. So we want to update some of our processes over the summer and a couple of our forms to hopefully make this a little clearer. So if there is something you're trying to submit to AZEDs in 2020 and you're getting some kind of an error about you're not allowed to do that, try reaching out to school finance first, because there's a few different things I configure in here. For example, some calendar approvals and what schools are going to be submitted by who, so things like that are in them. And then another thing that happened this week is we updated our guideline for requesting a 915. We had set a deadline of May 31st for requesting SACE 915s because they need to be completed within 3 fiscal years, and so June 30th will be at the end of the 3rd fiscal year. I have one last 915 in SACE, and it is going as difficult as a SACE 915 usually does, so we made sure to take SACE out of the guideline. One thing that we had gotten a few questions about in April were related to a 915 to maybe affect your letter grade. Since you're just changing exit codes, should it affect ADM change? We took that request very seriously and we discussed it, and honestly, a 915 is tied to the data change of a 915 is tied to an ADM change potentially caused by it. So we included a phrase in there saying this risk is inevitable, or there's risk in opening a 915. So that's in there now because we looked, it's really there. And then there was a couple of small grammar things. So it's updated on our website. So let me walk you around our website. If you haven't been before, it's azed.gov, as in Arizona Education. The homepage, I always try to zoom in because it's a video and it's always, oh, I've zoomed in already. There are 2 menus. There's a darker blue menu up at the top, and there's a medium light blue menu kind of an inch down on the screen. The darker blue menu is for the entire website. The next one is for the specific site you're in at the moment. There is a way to browse to school finance. It's through menu, schools and teachers, school support, school finance. It's a little awkward, so I usually just type the URL as www.az.gov/finance. So hopefully that's a little easier than the menu. But here we are. I wanted to quick show you that report about the memo about charter estimated counts and the first payment. So I chose memos in fiscal year 19, and it was, we published it in May. I always do this. Here it is. It's 1944, charter school and estimated enrollment list collection. And we start this memo by saying, interesting. We started by saying, here's the plan. Since the law is asking for an estimated count based on actual registration of pupils, we're going to use either the projected ADM or the estimated counts. Here's the dates on that. I have a question about charter estimated counts, and it's a good one. An anonymous user is asking, hey, the ADE calendar says the charter counts will open, I guess the charter counts deadline is the 26th. Thank you. It's a new calendar, and it's taking me a little time to kind of get traction on who to talk to update about that, so I'm working on it. I'm so sorry. Anonymous user is asking, does ADE have a list of closed schools? If you'd like to know if a particular charter is closed, you can reach out to the charter board, or if you look at they have an online port. It's Arizona State Board for Charter Schools, ASBCS online. You can search for that particular school. This is part of that working with IT on how do we roll over, how do we close the last year. Until recalc is over, I can't show you a comprehensive list of closed schools. So there is a way to send requests to the data requests if you need a list. It's going to be the same timing to get the list. I'm going to Google it. There's a search bar in the corner. Data requests. Because sometimes it's faster than trying to remember where everything is. There it is. It's az.gov/data/data request form. For requesting information. And then how they'll contact you. They'll ask me. It's going to take about the same time to do that. So sorry for that one. And then the last question about charter estimated counts. Can a student be claimed on charter counts if we have a verbal from the parent of a continuing from 1819? Do you know? My brain is empty at the moment.
I believe is that you would have to have it in this method where it can be audited. You can audit from conversation.
I would agree. Irene would suggest that your enrollments should be recorded in a method that can be audited, and it's difficult to audit a phone call. I know you can't exceed the actual number of students you have, and I know a lot of people choose to submit less than the actual number of students they have. I thought this is me skimming the memo for the answer. I'm so sorry. I have not had coffee today, and I have already why can't I remember? If you like, you can kind of include some contact information in the question, and we'll research it and try to get back to you. I assumed you'd be submitting students that you have enrollment packets for, but I don't know why I assumed that. There it is. Based on actual registration of pupils. Okay. So I don't believe that a phone call works for actual registration. Oh, how interesting. I didn't know that the charter board posted, somebody has shared a link to a charter estimated counts guideline on the charter board website. I didn't know that they posted that. That's helpful. Okay, this is very interesting. And then the other thing I wanted to show you was where we updated the, I wonder if I can just back out to the memo page, back out to our page, where we updated the guideline for 915. It's just in the Knowledge Center. And it's got a very accurate name. It's the Guideline for Requesting Prior Year Corrections. So that's where we updated that one. There's a hot dog about it. So.
The guidelines from the SBCSC get the hard copy parent signature.
Sorry, Irene told me that the guidelines from the charter board say you need a parent signature. That feels right to me. That registration usually involves paper, because I know, anyway. So that said, you don't have to do charter estimated counts for every single student. Hopefully it's okay to skip that student. Okay. I have wandered off the point a little. Well, thankfully, today was a light day. I'm sorry about the shenanigan earlier today where I just mistook the time of day for opening estimated counts, and I thought 5 p.m. would be the best time for that, so we've opened it now. And we should be back to you in 2 weeks. I think I put that on our website. Yeah, June 28th. So we should be back to you in 2 weeks, and hopefully with even less news because I plan for this summer to go really smoothly. I hope you have a really great weekend, and I really appreciate your participation. It makes managing all these shenanigans a lot easier. Have a nice weekend.